Well, welcome back, everybody, and I'm here with Blake and Kathy Collingsworth, and they started the Joshua Collingsworth Memorial Foundation over 10 years ago. Is that correct? And first of all, thank you for coming. I spent a lot of time on your website. You have two different websites, both the foundation and your Josh The Otter website. But I just want to tell you before we kind of get into some specifics, just tell us about Joshua.
Well, Joshua was, both of our children were adopted. Joshua was actually 2 weeks old when we adopted him, and he was just a precious little boy. He was the younger of the two, and so when we picked him up, it was kind of our Christmas present, because he was just 2 weeks shy of Christmas is when we got him. So, and he was just a little joy. He, everywhere we took him, people were just like, he's just so beautiful. He was just a perfect little angel boy. So he now is, he's an angel in heaven, and we're super proud of what we've done with our tragedy, and it's just really rewarding.
Well, I want to say too, just kind of, I was at the Nebraska Children's Home Society, their 125th anniversary gala earlier this month, and you two were honored for the Harris Van Ort Friends of Children Award. So I've known who you have been over the years just because of being in the publishing business. You've sent me a lot of different things, and I was just really glad to connect to you again that night. So tell us, so for those of us who don't know what the tragedy is, kind of walk us through that, which really ties into the foundation and everything you're doing.
Well, we had a fun family day planned around the pool. We hadn't been in that house very long, and I'm a home builder by trade, and so we'd done all the things that we thought most people do to be diligent around the pool with the layers and barriers, safety barriers that you would put in place around the pool. But when you have a family get-together, a large family get-together, and people are coming and going and moving in different places, it's amazing how fast a little toddler can get out of your sight.
Sure.
And that's what happened to us that day. From the best that I can tell, during the transition of people getting in the water and getting out of the pool and some getting ready to get back in, Joshua went out there with the expectation of filling his older brother's watering gun, because his older brother never let him play with it when he was there. And just that type of curious little boy and wanting to play, and the gun wasn't around the pool before when we were in there, and so but it was in the water next to him later when I went to the pool. So we believe he actually probably lost his balance and fell in, and we were working on swimming lessons. We had just kind of started that process, but we'd only had a couple. And my brother and sister-in-law were there, and they're both medically trained, so we pulled Joshua out of the water and did CPR on him until the EMTs arrived, and they transported him to Lincoln General Hospital at the time, and then life flighted him up here to Omaha Children's.
Okay. And
from the very beginning, the outcome wasn't very good, because with a toddler, it doesn't take very much time at all without oxygen to the brain, to where the damage is irreversible. So it was approximately 3 days later that we had to make the decision, and we took him off life support, and his brain just didn't have the power to run his vital organs. He passed away about 40 minutes later.
Okay. Well, from that tragedy, you're doing amazing things. I mean, not just here. You're from Lincoln, just Lincoln, Omaha, I mean, around the country. So talk to us about the Josh the Otter. I mean, how that kind of came to be, and what you're doing with that.
For me, my therapy, everybody goes through a mourning differently. How do you mourn? What do you do? I'm kind of have a fix-it mentality. I don't like when something doesn't work right. I have more of an attitude of how can I make it better rather than just accepting it that way.
Sure.
We weren't going to bring him back, but I had to understand what happened to us that day, because I did have a lot of those safety barriers in place. Started doing research, found out the #1 cause of unintentional accidental death to children ages 1 to 4 in the United States is the #1 cause, which was staggering to me. It's amazing how many people don't know that. It's the second leading cause of all adolescents under 14 is drowning. So then I started
Wow.
going, what's going on? How come,
Right.
what are we not doing as a society? And what would have made a difference in our circumstance? Because
Right.
drowning is a very complex problem. There's lots of different issues with it. But what would have changed our circumstance?
Sure.
And Joshua really wanted to please. He loved, he just didn't want to get out of sorts with mom or dad.
Right, right.
And I knew that, and so it's just like, well, if I'd have known these statistics and had a conversation with Joshua, I'd say, this is someplace you don't go unless you get mom and dad.
Right.
Or grandma and grandpa. So that thing about him filling the water gun, if you want to do something like that, come grab mom and dad by the finger and take us with you. Children want to be with their parents, they want to do that. So if you could start that thought process. We talk to kids, don't touch a stove, it's hot. Look both ways before it crosses the street.
Sure.
Stranger danger. We talk about all these things. We teach stop, drop, and roll in every school in the country.
Right.
And here we have the #1 cause of unintentional death to children 1 to 4. And we're not doing it as a society. So, and Joshua, and same as Connor, they all loved, Dora Explorer, Barney the Dinosaur, all those characters.
Right.
So then it's, okay, they may not listen to mom and dad, but will they listen to a character?
For sure, for sure.
And an otter, kids love otters. They are born in a den, and their mom drags them into the water and teaches them how to swim.
Okay.
So it's a perfect match character that children love. They go to the zoo and their
Yeah.
faces up against the glass, watching the otter swim and laughing. So.
Yeah, and joshtheotter.org, is that the name, is that the website, joshtheotter.org? People can go there. Again, I was looking at, you talk about safety, you talk about different ways to get involved. People are sharing their stories. There's so much information on that website to really help parents and kids learn about safety in the water. And I want to mention one thing too, is I noticed you have, you're opening up a new Float for Life national training facility. That's amazing and that's huge.
Yeah.
Can
you talk briefly about that?
One of the other aspects besides mental education with Joshua would have been the back floating technique, which pediatricians years ago said 4 or 5 years old is when you should start a child to swim because they're physically capable of doing the swimming strokes. But back floating is a different technique, and it's something as soon as a child can learn to crawl, they're capable of doing. And it's getting them, if they accidentally fall in the water, instead of panicking and taking in water, they hold their breath. And they literally roll on their back, and they, like an otter, and they look up and they can float on their back, and they can learn it very quickly. Then it's maybe just grabbing the side of the pool or calling out for help. So that really is what can extend your timing. You just need a few, typically in this situation, they're out of your sight for just a couple minutes. So, and this skill is pretty prevalent in Florida, California, Arizona, but there was only one place teaching it in Nebraska when we lost Joshua.
Yeah.
Now there's dozens.
That's amazing.
And the Float for Life Training Center, we expect that to be a place where we teach teachers.
Okay.
We will be scholarshiping kids, and we'll want to have kids in there, but we just had a woman from Alaska come to Lincoln, and we taught her this technique, and then she went back to Alaska, and now she's teaching it, and she wants to teach other teachers. So we're trying to expand how many kids are getting this type of training.
That's amazing. And thank you. I mean, thank you so much. Well, I want to make sure everybody, again, joshuatheotter.org is the website. There's so much information on that website. Thank you for taking just, a tragedy nobody ever wants to experience and doing, honest, you know what, I don't even know how many children's lives you've probably saved by doing what you're doing today. So thanks for coming on the show with me. And again, joshuatheotter.org, and we'll have some information on our website at spiritofomaha.com. And we're gonna post a video too that you were just talking about before we got started to make sure people can watch that as well. So thank you once again. I appreciate it.
We want to thank you because without your help, people don't get to hear our message and hear the statistics, and we don't need any more this summer. We don't ever need any more.
Yeah, and there's a book and everything that you can purchase on the website as well. So again, thanks so much for coming.
Thank you. Yeah, our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
We'll be right back.